Several families in Colorado Springs have come here seeking a non-traditional form of medicine, Charlotte's Web.
And they formed a community and want the world to see how the marijuana plant has saved the lives of their children. Fox 21's Aisha Morales has more now in her special report. Aisha.
Joe, Lauren, Charlotte's Web was made in 2011 by four brothers, the Stanley brothers in Denver. It's a strain of medical marijuana processed into an extract. It's high in cannabidiol or CBD, so it doesn't get you high. For some of the families we spoke to, this oil was the last option for their child, and they say coming here to give it a shot was worth it.
Which one are you?
Families from all over the country are picking up their things, leaving everything they know behind and coming here to Colorado.
I am a single mother with two children. My entire family is in the South Carolina, North Carolina area.
Marissa came seeking access to Charlotte's Web for her son Ezra.
Initially, he would have 300 to 500 seizures a day. Within 2 weeks of starting Charlotte's Web, there was a significant decrease.
Meaning he now only gets anywhere between 0 and 5 seizures.
It was almost like he was dead. There was no response at all.
Little Ezra, along with dozens of other children in Colorado, take it to control their seizures. But that wasn't enough for Ezra when just a few months ago, something terrible happened.
Went from being severely hypertonic, which he is now, where he's very floppy and doesn't have much tone in his muscles, to severely hypertonic, where he was bent backwards so severely, he had muscle contractions and muscle spasms so bad that he was bent backwards and he could almost touch his head to his rear end.
With her son fighting for his life, she needed to find something that could help.
It was basically expected that he would die because most children with the severity of that sort of dystonia don't survive.
Finally, after trying medicine after medicine, she found it, a different form of Charlotte's Web.
So it's a blend of a couple of different cannabis plants. It's a high THC, which most other states, even though they pass CBD only, it doesn't fall into that category.
Ezra has his ups and downs, but continues to do better, just like Adeline, who we introduced to you a few months ago.
We came to Colorado in May. Addie was born with a brain malformation called the schizencephaly cleft, and it causes her to have uncontrolled epilepsy.
Adeline still has seizures.
This is seizure for Adeline currently. Ounce. It's okay, honey. Mama's here with you. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl.
But the difference in how Adeline was back home in Maine is like night and day.
She was so overly medicated on the standard pharmaceuticals prescribed to her by the trained neurologist that she had zero quality of life.
These families are part of the Realm of Caring Foundation, a nonprofit organization set up to help families of patients who can't afford the treatment. It's also looking at the research behind it, at least trying to.
The federal government holds a patent on cannabinoids as neuroprotectants and antioxidants. This is odd to me since they say it's a Schedule I substance, which means it has no medicinal value whatsoever. I don't understand that. We have to wonder how we got here.
The Realm families in Colorado Springs use each other as a support system.
It's good to be around other folks that are like you because it is so incredibly challenging to have a kiddo with extreme special needs like Addie. To have that community where you feel very much a part of something larger than yourself is a wonderful thing.
And while a lot can't be done as far as research on a federal level, they've seen the difference.
Had we not had THC, I wouldn't be holding him right now. I would be burying my child.
And only hope this oil can help save lives all across the country.
I know people in other states who have the same diagnosis as my son, and they cannot use this as an option. And it may not work, but they should have the right to try.
Heather says Realm as an organization has helped shift the legislation in 12 states already, but she says they have a long way to go.
A lot of what's changed the perception and made the polls switch is just regular old families like you've interviewed, who are just trying to help their kids. And that just makes sense to people now. I think this is more of a common sense thing, and I think that people are beginning to get that.
Heather's son, by the way, his name is Zakai. He's been seizure-free for 2 years now since taking Charlotte's Web. A challenge until this stuff is legal in all states is crossing state lines. Most of these families are stuck here in Colorado, but as Heather said, a lot of the states are starting to accept it. For them now, it's just a waiting game. Back to you guys.
All right, very interesting. Thank you, Aisha.
Well, you may want to hit the stores and stock up on chocolate. There could one day be a shortage.
Yeah, believe it or not. Find out what's threatening the world's supply later in tonight's business news. But first, here's Terry.